Welcome, everyone, to an extraordinary podcast/live video streaming experience, presented by fentanylsolution.org in collaboration with the compassionate minds at the Fentanyl Solution Group. Get ready for engaging conversations, expert insights. Welcome to Fentanyl Solution, advocating for lives, inspiring change.
Hey, welcome everyone, and thank you for listening to Fentanyl Solution, our syndicated podcast and live stream. I'm Janice M. Celeste, your host and president and CEO of fentanylsolution.org and the Fentanyl Solution Group. Fentanyl Solution is based in Orange County, California, but we are a nationwide nonprofit organization. I want you to tell all of your followers about the show, share this link. After all, sharing is caring. The replay will be available for sharing after the broadcast. Know that our hashtag for the show is Fentanyl Solution. My guest today is one of our own, Shane Wood. Shane is the development director for fentanylsolution.org, our 501c3 organization, and he has his own personal fentanyl story to tell. Hey, Shane, welcome to the show. I am not hearing Shane. Let's check on the sound. Shane, you may want to check your sound. Can you hear me okay? Good. Okay, I cannot hear you at all. So guys, we're having some technical difficulty while we are getting Shane's volume back up. Let me tell you a little bit about fentanylsolution.org. We are, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, we're based here in Orange County, California. And what we do is bring awareness and advocacy to the fentanyl space to warn people about the dangers of fentanyl. I can hear you now, Shane. Let's bring you back in. All right. So Great. That's what we do. Thank you. So how are you?
I am doing really, really well. Yeah, we are, as you know, we are constantly busy in the offices. Seems like we're taking phone calls, meetings, organizational collaborations all the time, but it's great work and I enjoy doing it.
Right. Well, you know what? Tell people more about what you do at fentanylsolution.org.
Absolutely. So as the development director for fentanylsolution.org, the most basic understanding of what I'm trying to do is really raise the capital that we need in order to do all of the great work that we're doing. But because I have my background in education, I really see the work that we're doing, no matter if we're asking for financial support or if we're looking for strategic partnerships, it's really about building community and being able to have a network of people who are tied in with a similar understanding of the importance of what we're doing. So it's having a lot of conversations with a lot of people and helping them to understand why fentanyl in particular is such a devastating epidemic that we have going on for us, and how they can help to make sure that we continue to work with our education and advocacy in order to reduce those rates of fentanyl-related deaths, not only in California, but nationally. As Janice mentioned in the intro, we are having conversations with people all over the country who are also passionate about this work and finding ways to build those coalitions in order to get our message out there and really make some huge changes.
That's great. And you know what? Tell people how you came to our organization. What brought you here to fentanylsolution.org? Because you have a real personal story that drives you.
Yeah. So I grew up in a very small rural community in central Washington. So Wenatchee, for anybody who's listening who knows where it is, the way they always used to tell it, my parents taught me this: if you put your finger on Seattle and you put your finger on Spokane, when they touch, that's Wenatchee. Known for apples, apple capital of the world, and wheat, actually. So if you like apple pie, you can thank Central Washington for the wheat and the apples that make that happen. it was a great community. I had a huge family. My brothers, I had 3 brothers, and then my dad had 4 brothers, and we all lived in the same tiny town growing up. But one of the things that my family struggled with was substance abuse kind of across the board, whether it was alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, eventually prescription medications. Obviously, we were hit by the opioid crisis. And as we got older, I moved away to pursue my education, and my family sort of continued to deal with that. And 8 years ago, I lost my dad to an overdose of opioids. He had been taking OxyContins for many, many years, and he had gotten some new ones. And we don't have confirmation for sure, but they were pills that were given to him by someone else. And we believe that there was probably some fentanyl laced in there. That was really starting to come up in that. And then 2 years later, on basically the anniversary of my father's death, my little brother Drew, who had struggled with lots of different substance abuse issues, had been clean from heroin for 7 months. We were so proud of him. He'd moved in with my mom. He was going to school. He was going to be a welder, doing really, really well. And this was the first anniversary that he felt it fully clean. So his mind was really, really sharp, and the pain was too much, and he didn't want to lose all of the progress that he'd made, those 7 months of really hard work. So a friend, thinking that they were doing him a favor, had some cocaine that they were willing to give him. And it was the idea that you'll just take a quick bump of this. It'll get you over these really big feelings that you're feeling. And then you'll be able to continue on. You know, that was never his drug of choice. So it wasn't going to be something that he was going to get addicted to in a new way. And it was laced with fentanyl. And my mom found him that night with his beloved dog, Cerberus, curled up at his feet, and he was dead. And 6 years ago, we just didn't talk about fentanyl. People didn't know, or the horrible, disgusting things people would say about, you know, that didn't he deserve it, right? He was looking for drugs. So clearly that's an issue. And as a family member, as somebody who lost not one, but 2 people that he loved, you don't care if it's their fault. And so I continued with my life, and I was an educator, professor for almost 10 years, and really loved it in Southern California. And then, as with everybody, my life was kind of turned upside down, and I was looking for new opportunities. And when I saw this position come up, I said, that is exactly where I want to go. Working to educate people, working to build communities. It's what I've done my entire career. And then with something so specific that is still so misunderstood as fentanyl and fentanyl poisoning. I met with Janice, and then once I met Janice, it was more than solidified for me. She has the passion and the know-how to get the work done. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to work with somebody who had the vision and really empowered people to get those things taken care of. And so I went through the process, and now I'm here, and we've been basically at a sprint for, the last several months, and we're getting a lot of things done, and it's really exciting.
Very cool. And I'm Janice, by the way. I'm the one he met, for the people who are listening and watching. We pulled him on board, and he's been going ever since. Let's talk a little bit about what you said. You said that, basically people were saying it was his fault, but it's not his fault, is it? It's a poisoning. He didn't know there's fentanyl in the cocaine that your brother was taking specifically. Absolutely.
Some of the work that we are doing really is, again, around education. And one of the major, and I would say if you take maybe nothing else from a conversation like this, one of the things that we really need to understand is the difference between overdose and poisoning. Overdoses are also a tragedy. And I am not going to diminish that. But you need to understand that there is a fundamental difference between overdose, which is taking too much of a substance that you intended to take and suffering the consequences of that overconsumption of that product. That is an overdose, and we have products and we have education to help people combat that. But a poisoning in this sense is taking a substance that you did not intend to take. One of the examples that I like to use when I'm talking to somebody who is confused about why we would need to make that difference is if you, Janice, say you go to a bar and you order a glass of wine, you know, and you get your wine and you drink it, and come to find out somebody has slipped rohypnol in there. You know, roofie is the sort of the colloquialism. Is there anyone in your circle of influence that would say, well, Janice, you went to a bar, you should have just expected that you were going to be roofied? Absolutely not. We understand that you did not consent to having an extra product put into your drink. It's the same thing with any substance that people are choosing to take. If they think that they are taking Xanax or Adderall or Percocet or any number of things, you can have a conversation about what the ethics or morality of those consumptions are. But you can't argue with the fact that if you pay for a product or are given a product and are told that it is one thing and they give you something else, there is a nefarious nature to that. And it is a poisoning. It was an unintended consumption of a poison. And that's what we're seeing people die from. Not people who went out seeking fentanyl, took fentanyl, and overdosed on it, but people who had any number of things that they thought that they were taking, and then were surprised by the fact that there was fentanyl in there. And that's one of the big issues with the education that we want to talk about, is we are often not even looking at the possibility of addiction to fentanyl. We can have a conversation at some point, if Janice, if you want to invite me back, and we can talk about what that looks like. But those are a different demographic, people who are having and struggling with addiction to fentanyl. What we are working with is a population that often has no idea that it's in there and is taking it unbeknownst to them and are dying because of one interaction with this very powerful synthetic opioid. So that's what we're really talking about when we say fentanyl poisoning rather than an overdose.
Right. Now, just so you guys know who are hearing this for the first time, fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. And only a few grains of salt worth of fentanyl will kill several adults who that just doesn't have a tolerance for it. Now, if you're addicted to fentanyl, you've been taking over a period of time, you build a tolerance. But people like the 16-year-old who took a corner of what looked like was a Xanax, but was not a Xanax, and he just bit the corner off, probably because he was afraid to take the whole thing. He died. I mean, it's just a little chip off of a pill. So this is one reason we also have to be careful and make sure we educate people about even testing the pills. We can talk a little bit about testing the pills, because you have to test the whole pill, and you can't take a piece of it. And you have to dissolve the whole pill in water, and understand that once you test that one pill, that doesn't mean the other pills you have are safe, if that one is safe. And can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So testing is one of the smartest things that you can do. If you are going to consume any product that is outside of the pharmaceutical establishment that we have, if you are getting it from a friend, an acquaintance, you know, a coach, whatever, testing specifically for fentanyl is the smartest thing that you can do. And one of the best ways that you can go about that, there are other products, you know, on the line, but we were really fortunate enough to partner with a company called Wise Batch. And one of the things that I really like about Wise Batch in particular is that they're the only product on the market right now that has comprehensive instructions right on the back of each package. What we find in various studies is that people can't figure out how to use the test strip within the first 30 seconds. They just throw it away, and they would rather, you know, roll the dice, as they would say, then continue to be frustrated by, you know, trying to figure this out. So they put it right on the back, and then there's a QR code that you can put on, and any way that you choose to consume that substance. And again, this is information, this is not judgment. Whatever substance you are taking and whatever form, powder, pill, injectable, what have you, there are instructions for the best way to test that. And say you have a pill, as Janice said, you would want to crush that up until it's kind of a fine powder. You put it in, if you have a shot glass, it's kind of the easiest way, but about 2 ounces of water, so you know about how much it is. And then you swirl the test strip in there for about 10 to 15 seconds and then let it sit. And then you check the lines and you see if it's clear or it's not based on the lines. And then you know whether or not that pill is safe to take. And again, as Janice mentioned, because of the way these are manufactured, and this is a conversation we need to have, more in depth than what this conversation can have, but it's the way that they're created. It makes it so you never know pill to pill whether or not it's connected. So it really is something that we have to get into people's minds, that every substance, every time we want to be testing those. But it really is, when you get down to it, it's not that difficult. It's just an extra step, and having those clear instructions makes a world of difference. And you can then assure that you are being safe as possible. So Janice has it there. That's the basic idea. And then if you see the QR code there on the back, you can click on that. And like I said, all the other instructions. And if you find that something has fentanyl in it, that you bought something and there was fentanyl in it, there is a completely anonymous reporting system built into the QR code. And what that does is it starts to give the company an idea to be able to tell where resources need to be, where we can start really focusing in on how to, again, educate, advocate, and protect communities if we see that there is an influx of fentanyl coming into a certain community. So it's really, you're helping your neighbors, your friends, your community by just doing something as simple as making sure that you are staying as safe as possible, no matter what it is that you are choosing to take.
Okay. We will put the link to these test strips in the description of the video and the podcast, so you guys can get them. You should have one probably in your first aid kit. You never know, along with your naloxone, and keep that in your first aid kit. I tell everyone to keep naloxone in your first aid kit, in your car, and at your office, because you never know if you're going to be the first responder. We only have like 8 minutes to save someone's life. And it could be your neighbor's kid. It could be anybody's kid, but you will have the life-saving spray that can bring them out of an overdose situation or a poisoning situation. And of course, you'll be the hero because you saved a life. And that's what we're here for, which is to save lives. So Shane, you are the development director here at fentanylsolution.org. That means you're the money man. That's what we're gonna call you.
Absolutely.
We're gonna call you the money man. So tell us a little bit about that and your role and what you hope to accomplish as the development director for Fentanyl Solution.
Absolutely. So it's, again, coming from education. I'm an educator first. That's what I enjoy. That's how I like engaging with people. And if you have come from education, you have seen many, many, many conversations around the fact that funding is required. You have to have money in order to be able to do the things. We have to keep the lights on. We have to be able to have a place to have a computer and internet so that we can talk with people. We have to be able to print so that we have our educational materials, so that when we go out and we do our life-saving lunch and learns, where we take 30 minutes and walk you through the comprehensive understanding of what opioid overdose poisonings look like and how to use naloxone and what to do afterwards, and also just tell you about some of the Good Samaritan laws that are available to really reassure people, as Janice said, you save a life and it is only ever a good thing. Those things take money. And so my approach to this really is about looking for people who have the mindset, the means, and the opportunity to help us, right? If you have a passion for public safety, if you have a passion for health and human services, this is the final frontier. Fentanyl poisoning is the #1 killer of individuals 18 to 45 in this country. It is higher than COVID. It is higher than cancer, car accidents, you name it. Fentanyl beats it. And in California, 1 in 5, and this stat blows people away. So I like to make sure that you're hearing it, because your brain isn't going to want to register it. 1 in 5 youth deaths, and youth deaths in this sort of statistical jargon means under 17. So we're talking young kids. 1 in 5 youth deaths in California is directly related to fentanyl. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of those died because of fentanyl. And that number across the board is just rising and rising and rising. It is the modern epidemic that we really have to talk about. So getting people to understand that this is the thing that we have to solve in order to really move forward with a lot of the other initiatives that we want to do. People have to survive in order to talk about it. So I have conversations with heads of corporations. I have conversations with foundations, philanthropy groups, community leaders, legislative personnel. We are talking to people literally all over the country, looking for innovative ways to partner and work together. But at the end of the day, it really does come down to, we need money in order to do the work that is available to us. So anything that we can do together that makes you want to work with us and be able to support us monetarily, we are going to do that, and we are going to get this message out to as many people as possible. And we've already done some fantastic work. We've made some huge strides already in the short amount of time that we've been around, and we've got big things on the horizon. We've got some really great, even just events that you can come up on. We have a benefit concert and silent auction that we're working on in September, that we are going to have some fantastic classical and Broadway artists from all over Orange County and the country coming together for an evening of really fantastic music and really beautiful art, and opportunities from community members who have already started making incredible donations of pieces that you can buy and take home and have with you forever. We have worked on putting together a charity fashion show that'll be happening in the spring. We're working with UCI. We're going to be putting together a fantastic town hall and informational session probably in October as part of our kickoff for Drug Awareness Month. So we've got a lot of campaigns, a lot of things, a lot of ways that you can get involved. And those things all take money, right? We have to be able to get those things put together. So those are, I'm rambling, I know, so I'm going to pull it in. Teacher Shane, boom, going to bring it back. But we have a lot of things that we're doing, and all of those things take money. So any of those things that sound interesting to you, whether it is a specific event, whether it is something that we haven't mentioned yet, or it's just generally this is work that you think is interesting to you, I want to have those conversations with you and see how we can find a way to help each other. So you support us and we support you as we move forward in this work.
Right. Well, one way that the public can help out as well is we have on our website, you can volunteer, you can sign up right on our website under our career section. If you have a strength in something, if you're a teacher and you're off for the summer, we surely could use your help. We have lunch and learns that we do for corporations to teach them about how to use naloxone. Our sponsor, Cloxado, gives us free naloxone to hand out at these lunch and learns. And you can learn all about fentanyl as well. So if you're interested in signing up for a lunch and learn for your office or your business, you need to contact us. Just send us an email or go to our website. Our name is our website, fentanylsolution.org, and you can sign up right there. And you can volunteer for events or whatever it is your strength is. Your strength is marketing, then please come contact us. If you're, you have this expertise in social media, we could use you too. So, just sign up and we'll meet you right here. We're in Newport Beach. If you're in Orange County, it makes a lot of sense. You can even do it remotely. We just need as much help as possible to fight this fentanyl war. It is a war. And we are working to win it battle by battle. Let me ask you, let's go
Mhm.
back to addiction a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you dealing with addiction in your family, what advice would you give to those who are managing an addiction?
Whew. That is an important and difficult question. I will say, the first thing I need to do is acknowledge my own bias. Obviously, I am the loved one of many individuals who have suffered with addiction, and that gives me a lived experience that is different, right, than those who are struggling. But what I've seen work well is when you were able to open up about your addiction and you were able to admit that you need help. And it sounds trite, but there's a reason why for generations, that is the first thing. We come from an understanding of community. You need people to support you. So opening up and being able to admit that you need the help, you would be amazed at what resources are available as soon as you make the ask. And this is hard, and I'm going to admit that this is hard, but if for some reason you open up to somebody that you believe is a person that can handle it and they cannot, don't make that your last ask. I promise you, it is the minority of people who will not immediately say, no, let's do this. Let's find you the resources and the help that you need in whatever way that means. Reach out to organizations that are already doing the work. You know, we talk to these people every day. We talk to every kind of organization that has the resources available. So reach out. These secrets thrive in the darkness and the unspoken, and just putting them into the light all of a sudden makes them so much more manageable. So reach out and talk to people and give yourself some grace, right? Just like with anything, it takes time to learn. It takes time to unlearn. Our brains are made to make connections, and those connections are hard to break. But be patient with yourself and take the help that is offered to you. Those are the biggest pieces of advice I can give.
No, that's fantastic advice. Now let's talk about, as a loved one, a family member, what advice would you give other family members that are trying to cope with someone who's addicted that they love?
Yeah. Sorry, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to try to understand the duality of the person that is before you. You have the person that you love. You have the person that you grew up with, that you have all of these memories with. But there is another person inside of them that you may have no connection to whatsoever. You may have no idea who they are. The things that they have had to do, the choices that they have had to make, the experiences that they have had to endure completely on their own or with a group of people that you are not privy to because they don't share that part of themselves with you. This, again, is something that there's so much stigma around it that you may not know. So by the time it bleeds over into affecting the person that you know, you feel like sometimes you're looking at a stranger, and that's really hard to deal with. But try to remember the person that you love is there and they are asking for help. And you can deal with all of the ramifications that come from that. I have had issues of theft, of being taken advantage of physical altercations, of horrible, horrible things said to me by people that are the closest to me in my life. And those are all valid issues and concerns for separating yourself. But at the end of the day, they are your loved one, and those things can come later. Let's get them the help that they need. Let's save them from the addiction that is holding them, and then we can start to rebuild all of the rest. But it really comes down to, it's like triage in a medical setting. You have to stop the bleeding. You have to get the intervention in there because, and this sounds it sounds dark, but I've seen it. I've seen it myself multiple times. My dad, my brother, my cousin. If you don't, if decisions are made, it is one decision, one time, then the potential is gone. They are dead, and it is over. There is no more potential for that human life. It is done. And that is, I feel a little macabre saying it in that way, but that's what we need to understand. It is life and death. So put away everything you can, help the person where they're at, and then we'll start unpacking the rest of it. But try to get them where they need to be, and then get yourself into therapy. Get yourself somebody you can talk to and work through all of those things that are in there. But you will not regret having saved a life. You know, everything else comes aside. You will not regret having saved a life. And then the rest of it, you can work on it. And that's human existence, is working through the rest of it. But you are always and forever going to be a hero that saved a human life. These are human beings.
Right. Okay. So you can definitely say mental health care, self-care, all go along with
absolutely
trying to manage and cope with a family member who might be dealing with an addiction.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're coming to the end of our first syndicated podcast and video stream. Ending on a good note is that we here at fentanylsolution.org, we're here to save lives, and that's what we're working on. And we're working on various programs and events to get the word out. Tell people how they can get in contact with you.
So, absolutely. So the best way to contact me is through my email address, which is on the screen right now, shane@fentanylsolution.org. We are also, fentanylsolution.org is on all major social media platforms, so you can get us on there as well. Drop us a comment, drop us a message, DM, whatever, and we will get back to you. But email me, and it is me personally right there on the email. I will be the one that reads it and answers it. So reach out, anything and everything. We'll talk, we'll strategize, whatever you want to do. We are happy to have all of the connections possible. All
right. Well, thank you, Shane, for joining us today. And thank all of you for participating and listening to Fentanyl Solution. We will be live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also have a YouTube account, which you can find some of these replays. We're at Fentanyl SOL for solution, Fentanyl SOL. And our website is fentanylsolution.org and fentanylsolutiongroup.org. Scan our QR code, which we're going to put on the screen, to donate, which helps us keep spreading the word and awareness about the dangers of fentanyl. I'm sorry, I got the giggles right now. Be sure to leave a comment and read our podcast. Until next time, I'm sorry, guys. Remember, you are the solution. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of awareness and compassion. Together, we can make a difference. This has been Fentanyl Solution, advocating for lives, inspiring change. Stay safe, and remember, you are the solution.